I see you found our little hiding spot in the universe. Don't get too comfortable. This is a place where you will find those with an experience that's out of this world, or possibly deep within your life. I welcome you to the Oracles with James Tyson. Lean forward and listen. We will pull you into a supernatural journey with guests from around the world, each one experiencing some of the most extraordinary phenomena this wee planet has to offer. I wish to invite you to support the program through the Oracles with JamesTyson.com Patreon link. For as little as $3 per month, you qualify for a free monthly psychic reading, a past life regression, and exclusive access to our filmed interviews. Don't lower your guard. That's just the beginning as we give back. When I have reached 2,222 members, we will be giving away monthly trips to supernatural hotspots and conferences across North America. Don't run. I can see you. With a limit of 4,500 Patreon supporters, you will want to get your passports ready, as every third month, we will include paranormal conferences and tours in Europe and Australia. I know you can hear me. Visit theoracleswithjamestyson.com and click on the Patreon link. Where are you listening? That's the Patreon button at theoracleswithjamestyson.com. Now, here are the Oracles with James Tyson.
Thank you, Liam, you strange little alien you. Anybody else have a Irish alien named Liam that opens up their podcast? It's this interesting fellow who's beamed in, and I think I saw him down in the Oregon area around McMinnville during the UFO Fest last weekend. He was at the end of a crowd, tall, gray, looked at me and winked, and then ran into a pub. So possibly either that or it was because I just came out of a pub. Not really sure which of us may have had too many Guinness at the time. But Liam, again, thank you for the introduction. Today I'm having a friend of mine on. It's Kathy Marrott. And for those of you who want to play along at home or just check her out, please go to her website, kathymarrott.com. That's Kathy with a K and then Marrott, M-A-R-R-O-T-T. She is an energy healer. And I first talked to Kathy a couple of years ago. I was trying to get her on to help do some readings, live readings on air, but she's extremely busy. She's got two little boys that pull her in two different directions at any given time. She's got a real job as well as her real job doing her energy healings and readings. She does clairvoyant email reading, which I want to talk to her about, and angel readings where she channels your angel guides, as well as some chakra balancing and some healing sessions. She does this all online and over Skype or the phone. And I want to talk to her a little bit about that. Now, energy healing, what is that? We all have energy. We all are people who exist in various levels of our energy. Some are, well, I'll call it vibration. We all have these vibrations, and some are higher than others. And our vibrations aren't a constant. It's not. Imagine it not being as just a straight line through our lives. They fluctuate. When we're not feeling well, both mentally and physically. A lot of times it goes by location. You can walk into a location and just feel there's something off here. And if you're in that location for a while, your vibration will drop. It gets a little bit low. We've all been there. And we've all been to the higher vibration places too, around moving water, around the forest, someplace that actually gives where we could draw on the energy of the earth itself. Some people get it, all people would get it walking into a power plant. You kind of get that kind of tingly boost, and sometimes it can be a lot or a little overwhelming. Imagine yourself going to a concert and everybody in the room loves the band. And imagine yourself being completely sober. I'm sure there's one of you out there that would be completely sober going to a concert. But when you're in a group of people who are all focused and all loving the event, that is a boost in your energy. It's almost like you're about 3 feet off the ground, and all you need to do is leave that venue at the end of that wonderful night and walk out and see a few guys in a fight, and that'll drop your energy back down again. And when someone says, "Hey, how was the concert last night?" And it's like, what I remember about it, it was pretty good. But if you hadn't seen that fight, it would have been, oh, great. But it's just that, you got the energy knocked out of you a little bit as you left. But that happens. And we're going to talk about energy healing. And think of it this way. What I like to think about it anyway is that we exist, and we exist with this nice little beam of energy that we've always had. Some people are very, very high, like some people glow in the dark, like turning a couple of searchlights up to the stars. Those are the empath types, and then there's the other ones that are the normal ones that fluctuate. The empaths fluctuate too, but the normal ones. But imagine negative energy blocking, all these blocks that come down. And when I say blocks, I want you to just picture it this way. It's actually blocking the energy that you are getting from Source, from God, from Creator, whatever your term is for the universe, or where this energy comes from, coming into the top of us, coming into your crown chakra to power our little engine. These blocks, imagine them pieces like newspapers going over top of the source of the energy, and many of these blocks, and those are the blocks we get from poor relationships, from cranky bosses, from seeing something that was disturbing, and we get all these things pile up on top of us. Well, it's something that Kathy removes through energy healing, or when people do energy healing, that's what they're removing. They're taking those newspapers off the top to find who you are and get that connection between Source and you open and not interfered with again. And we get those blocks often. We get them from arguing with somebody over a parking spot, or getting into just a weird feeling around somebody, maybe in a lineup at the grocery store. We'll start getting something negative, or somebody's trying to tap into us. And a lot of people will tap into us and not consciously do it. We seem to attract a lot of narcissists. If you're a very higher vibration person, you'll attract a narcissist. You will attract people who just want to tap in. And after that person even leaves your life, there is a residual left over. And these are the types of things that an energy healer like Kathy Marrott will brush away and wash those things off. So she's a very, very interesting person. Energy healing itself is a very, very interesting concept, and I'm very curious about it. I have had some energy healing done remotely, which I thought was fantastic. And in fact, it's later today I'm going for a healing, kind of a Reiki energy healing mix for my bad back. So I'm going to give that a shot. And I'll tell you about that in a couple of days and see how that worked out. I had it once before, and where I had a sore back, and it had been sore for months. And I think I had one energy healing and Reiki combination healing, and I think it was a good 3 weeks that I didn't feel any lower back pain. So that's good. That is good. And I think the lower back pain comes, again, as we get those blocks from whatever we're bumping into in day-to-day life. So again, I think I talk to Kathy. Kathy's a person that has a better understanding of this than I do. And if you know me, you know I'm not going to read up on it unless there's a lot of pictures in the book. The unfortunate part is Kathy lives so far away, and I've never got to see her, but I think I'm going to go bounce down, maybe have a tea with her in June while I'm down in Carlsbad and in San Diego area after the Alien Con in LA at the end of June, and see what's going on with her, and bounce around someplace where there's a little more beach and a little bit warmer than it is here. But we'll see how that goes. So Kathy, again, go to her website, kathymarrott.com. fabulous human being, and I will bring her kicking and screaming on here shortly. Kathy, how are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I am fine. I was just down to McMinnville, Oregon for the UFO Fest on the weekend and saw aliens and, well, okay, a lot of people dressed up as aliens walking around. Bumped into some very, very cool people down there. Bob Lazar, who had worked just south of Area 51 at a place called S4, reverse engineering UFOs and things like that. So a lot of very interesting people down there. And yeah, you would have loved it. There was a lot of us woo-woo people there. So
it sounds like my kind of people.
Yeah. Hey, I'm dragging you kicking and screaming on here. We've been, how would we say, what is our relationship? We have been cyber buddies for a couple of years now, but really never got together to chat about who you are. And again, for the people my listener, if you want to go to Kathy's website, it's Kathy Marrott .com, just Kathy and then MARROTT.com, and you can follow along and see what she's up to and the types of things she does. Now, you're really, really old, like we talked about. No, you're not. But
yes.
But what happened? When did these abilities, or when did the sensitivity start with you? How old were you when you realized that you were a little bit different from the other kids?
I would say as a child, but growing up in Utah and growing up around beliefs that were very conservative, I was taught, a different way. I was kind of taught to not think about those things or not use, maybe some gifts that I had, and I wasn't really aware as a child. It's like you kind of know, but you don't know. And then if no one talks to you about it, it's hard to really understand as a child. And then, as I grew a little older, I would go home to I got married really young. I would go home to my husband and I would say this and this, that, I could feel these girls, or I could actually hear people talk in their minds, and I would hear them, and I would come home and tell my husband, and he would tell me I was crazy. So I had a lot of, people like going, oh, Kathy, that's crazy. Yeah, no. And so I pushed it away for years. Okay. I would say I was probably late 30s, early 40s when I began really just sitting down with all my gifts and noticing what they were.
Wow.
Or are. Mm-hmm.
And how did you kind of filter those down or go through them? Did you know anybody who was intuitive at the time?
Well, what happened was I was going through a really hard time. I was leaving my second husband with 2 kids, and kind of a terrible lose everything you own and leave with your kids situation. So it was really rough. And so I was going through a really hard time, and I was talking to this person that's also an energy healer. And he would help me through it. He was calling me, if I needed help, I could call him, and he would help me sort through and release a lot of the emotions that I was dealing with that were so hard at the time. And in doing that is when I started really opening up to my own gifts.
Okay. Did you those? I'm going to kind of take a stab at it here, but you say it was your second husband. Would you find yourself attracting very narcissistic people?
Absolutely. My second husband was very, very narcissistic and a sociopath.
Okay. I find that with very high vibration people, they attract very low vibration, or some are higher vibration narcissists, but people just want to feed off your energy and control.
Basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was the type that was looking for a mommy, and I've been a mom my whole life, basically. So, yeah, it was very unpleasant.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Sometimes it's going through serious darkness, that kind of wakes you up to stuff. And, it kind of gets you to a space where you have to look at yourself and you have to say, what am I doing to create this?
Mm-hmm.
And so with the help of my my dear friend, I swear to God, that man saved my life. He helped me release, and, in my energy healing work, I like to call it, I like to equate it to emotional healing, because emotions are energy, right? And so then I like to talk about dark emotions, meaning like anger, frustration, anxiety, and all that, even serious depression or even suicide, things like that. Those are dark emotions. And so, there's so much to this. It's simple, but it's, there's a lot to be said.
Yeah.
I don't know how far you want me to go into that part, but that's what I help clear from people.
Yeah, in your energy healings. I want to get into your energy healings, but right now, one of the things that's been really fascinating about you is that you are an intuitive. You do readings, and again, obviously coming from a lot of the stuff that you were hearing and seeing as a child. When you say you could like hear what people are thinking, what do you connect to? Like, let's say I'm going to take you back to when you were a child and you're hearing somebody think, or what you think you perceive as somebody thinking. When you do a reading, who is it you connect to get the information, to be the medium between the information and your client?
Okay, so now I do it very differently than I did when I was younger, when I didn't know what I was doing. When I didn't know what I was doing, it would just come straight through. Like, I would just hear it. I didn't do anything to connect. It just happened, and it was very weird. And then as I started learning about all of this and realizing how to connect, so there's a couple things. So I connect to your heart, or the client. I connect to their heart, and the heart has a lot of information. Okay, and then the second thing I do is I actually connect to your guides, your spirit guides, or some people like to call them angels. They're the exact same thing. So I'll get information. So for me, I have visions. I hear what the guides want me to say, and I also can feel very strongly the other person's emotion.
Okay.
So I have all three of those gifts, and so I can help. I've also been taught how to energetically, like right now with you, James, if I wanted to pull emotion up, we could do it right through the phone. I don't need to see you in person. And I could say, if we were going to do a session, I would ask, okay, the guides would lead me to a story in your life that was painful, and then we would actually ask you to feel that pain, and bring it up into the solar plexus. So I use a lot of I use chakra. I do chakra work. We pull energy through your chakras, and then we would ask you to feel that pain. And as you feel that pain, we would show you how to release it, and I would actually help you release it along with your guides helping release it. And so it's very powerful.
Wow.
People really notice a huge difference. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very cool. And you say, and what's interesting to me, you describe people's spirit guides as their angels.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah, okay. Because when I look at somebody, I know they're the family member that's kind of assigned to them sometimes. I can see, if I'm looking at you, if I'm standing, look at you, I can see, or see is the bad term. I know there's somebody standing to your left.
You can feel it.
Yes, and I can actually describe the person and who she is and which side. I think it's your mother's side of the family you get this from, and you've got a female lady, but you've got a woman standing to your left. On your right, I see 5 angels. But I take it your spirit guides are way up high on your right if I'm facing you. But the angelic side of you is on your right. And 1, 2, 3. The fourth one over is very tall and greeny blue, which could be either, I don't know, they get ET or light being relative, but that's the very, very high vibration side. The really, what could be a good term for that? That side is very, very higher energy vibration. I guess it's an angelic vibration where this lady is on your right. She is more of a lower like she's a somebody's passed and come back, and then
so you're just noticing the difference in everything. See, I just don't. You know what? I don't pay close enough attention to that because I'm so busy being guided to the pain inside of you to get rid of.
Yeah, that is absolutely fantastic.
I haven't been paying attention to all that cool thing, all those cool things that obviously you're seeing. That's awesome. I should try that.
But yeah, but that's because I'm so far at the beginning of this, and you were so far past this where I am.
Yeah, I'm more. I think that I like to call myself a wild card because I just literally just do what I haven't had anybody teach me. I haven't gone to Reiki. I haven't. I'm not certified. So this all comes to me just by closing my eyes, getting to a space of meditation, and just whatever comes through.
Yeah, and I think that's like me. It's like somebody said, okay, this is the model you're going to see at this point in your life. I don't see the spirit guides. I know people who do mediumship and they actually they're direct to the spirit guides. I get that volunteer human being that passed and has come back to give you your, the gut feeling and the goosebumps and the stuff like that. And that's the person I connect to because I'm not there yet being able to go right to a spirit guide. I do spirit guides when I read cards. It's a spirit guide thing, but when I'm standing there looking at somebody, it's like, whoa, okay, this is completely. You've got a lady just came through, or there's a man here to tell you this.
You know what? I call the lady you're seeing on my right. I would call her a spirit guide.
Yeah, I guess she's a guide and she's in spirit.
Yeah, she's a guide and she's spirit.
Yeah.
So the angels that you're seeing on the other side, they're fluffy and have a yummy energy. I would call that angelic energy, but the lady over here on the other side, she's more of a guide, and I think that they do more talking than the angels do.
Oh yeah, the angels don't do. To me, the angels don't do anything.
It depends on the person and the situation, and I'll have different. I usually can tell when it's not the spirit guide talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I just get I get your human relative there, who to me is closer to vibration with me, as opposed to a spirit guide that's really, really, really high up there, and it's different.
So that's probably why she's connecting with you, because you're at the same vibration, and so you can hear her
or closer, definitely closer.
Because if you're not in the same vibration, you won't hear them.
Yeah. And the angels, I'm pretty sure they're just like your basic angels. They have your itinerary. If you're going to step out in front of a bus, they make sure you don't. And and when it's your time to go, they're the ones who push you out in front of the bus. So
there you go. There you go.
They have that little clipboard going, okay, Kathy, it's time. Yep. And at the edge of the volcano. Okay, well, we won't do that yet. Okay. Yeah, it's fascinating. You work a lot with chakras and getting, kind of bounce into your energy healing a bit, but do you actually, this is a question I've always wanted to ask somebody who does energy healing, but do you see chakras in somebody when you look at them?
I guess in a way, because I visualize light in there, a lot of the work that I do with people is visualizing. So I'll visualize, if we're going to work on a certain chakra, I'll call upon, during a session, I always make sure people are in a protection. They're connected to grounding Mother Earth energy and also connected to infinite divine source energy. So they're in this bubble of safety and protection and power, because the source energy is very powerful. And so each person I work with is connected like that and protected. So I'll always ask, whatever chakra we're working on or I'm guided to work on, I'll ask for that color, that beautiful, infinite, divine, say if you're going to work on the root chakra, I'll ask for the red light to come down and enter into that and as we're working on it, so that it kind of pushes out bad stuff or the things hurting the person or whatever needs to be cleared. And then the red light heals, clears, heals, re-energizes, and opens you up to new hope, new opportunities, new desires, a change, a shift in life.
Okay, that makes that makes sense.
So, I mean, in that way, I guess I see the color, and it's a round ball.
Okay.
Smaller than a volleyball, but, like a softball size.
Yeah. I took a Reiki course, and from that, I've only done it once on a human being. I do it on my dog all the time because he's got an appliance in his knee, and it's, it bugs him.
I think it really helps animals a lot.
Yeah. And I can completely relax him, and I know I'm at a good place because he'll kind of roll over and look me in the eye, and then he'll lick my hand, and then he'll lay back down again. But I try to...
No, they feel it. No, when I'm on the phone with clients, I'll say, can you please put your animal in the other room, because they really feel the energy, because they'll just start barking.
Yeah.
Especially if we get really into it. If we're in, I like to call it in the cosmos. We're in the cosmos, the animals go crazy. They can feel it. They're not sure about it because they're not used to that energy or vibration or whatever, and they always bark.
Oh, that's kind of cool, though. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh,
yeah.
It's good energy, though.
Yeah. No, it is good energy. It's just they feel the difference, and they're making sure their mommy or daddy is safe.
Yeah, I think that's it, too. There's something out of sorts, and they're just want to make sure.
Feel a difference. Yeah.
Now, you in your healings with energy healing, could you describe just to my listener what energy healing is and what you do?
Okay, so energy healing is emotional healing. So what happens is we are taught, pretty much everybody in this world is taught, when something terrible happens to us, it will just heal by when you don't think about it anymore. We shove it down in somewhere in our body unknowingly, and then we don't think about it anymore after a few years, and we just think it's gone. But it's not gone, okay? Because what happens is that pain is shoved down somewhere, whether in a chakra, or some people it goes in their liver or manifests into a disease, or, any number of things. It can also manifest into troubling problems throughout your relationships, throughout, even work problems, how people treat you, depending on what happens. Okay, and then we don't really realize why that's happening to us, right? We're like, well, why is my life so hard? Why is my boss so mean to me? Why don't I have friends? Why can't I find one person to date me past 4 days? Why can't I, all these things, And so a lot of times it's from past pain that's been shoved down in you, and then what happens is we manifest this wall of protection so that we hopefully don't get hurt again. But in my opinion, that wall of protection creates more pain. So I like to tell all my clients, we create from our pain. So our life is continually created from our emotional pain stuffed down inside of us.
Okay.
So you go to someone like me, and I connect to you, your heart, and your guides, your angels, and then they'll tell me where to start. I'm usually given an age, or I'm given a time. I'm also usually given, people that were in the story that hurt you, okay? And kind of what happened, and then we have to, what I'll usually do, I have different processes, but one of the main processes is where we send that person back as the woman or the man they are today, right now, into their childhood or into their adulthood, and we help that person. We talk to them. We say, this is what happened and why, and so that your child or your older, your young adult or whoever we're working with in your past of your life, I hope that makes sense. And so we can help that person understand why they were hurt or what happened, and so that they can deal with it, because most of them never did deal with it. They just shoved it down, or even if they went and talked to a regular therapist, they still didn't understand why that didn't heal them, okay? But for some reason, using what I like to call unconditional love, being connected to divine source energy, being connected to Mother Earth Gaia energy, I will show that person that I'm working with how to put that energy in them, how to, it's like a beautiful white light or like a shower of this unconditional loving energy that does actually seem to clear out the pain. Now, this is each client always sees, a huge difference after every session. But the thing is we're not always ready to heal all of that all at once, depending on the issue. especially when I'm dealing with like poor, rape victims or childhood abuse, sexual abuse, parents beating each other up, all sorts of domestic violence that people grow up in. They're not always ready to let go of all of that all at once. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to I like to call it applying the solution of unconditional love over and over until it's completely ready to release, and it will eventually. And so it just takes time, and all my clients that come once, they always come again. I mean, I have weekly clients that come kind of like if you went to a therapist.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing work. I've really had so much fulfillment helping people heal.
Would you say that over and above what your intuitive and mediumship abilities are, it's the healing, the energy healing, and the healing that is really your calling?
Yeah, I mean, I do see psychic things. I see future. So I'll see, like if people are asking, well, what about my future? This is how the energy healing part started, actually, because, I did the psychic work first, and I would just, oh, my God, I would look into these people, and I would see all their pain, and I would see how they were just going to continue to create painful love relationships where one of them, male or female, would be abandoned over and over again, and I'm just thinking to myself, I can't tell them this, How do I help them not create this anymore? How do I help them, or be broke? These people that are always financially broke, and they just keep creating that cycle of being broke over and over. You're not going to create anything different if you're unaware of it, right? And part of it is just being aware and conscious, which a lot of people aren't aware and conscious. And so it's very hard to see your own shit, is what I like to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes someone else like me, someone who does what I do, looking in and going, okay, let me help you. We can pull out this issue. And, and it even goes further, because it's not just the story or the age, it's all the parts in you. So I like to explain to people, everyone has like at least 9 to 12 parts. And all these parts inside of us are the voices in our head that we hear in the middle of the night, or when we're doing the dishes, or we're on a drive, and all these voices are driving us crazy in our heads, right?
Oh, yes.
And so, yeah, everybody I talk to identifies with that. And so what happens is I can hear all those voices. And the voices that come to me are the voices that need healing. And they're hurting. They're pissed. They're angry. They want to hurt. Some people even have rage in them. And there's just this, and I like to say parts of you, because we have all these good parts too. We have loving, kind, thoughtful, sweet parts of us, and we live in those parts, but then all these upset parts are still living in us too. So that's part of what I help pull out. I like to say pull out kind of like a thorn in your side, help create this safe haven for these parts of you to come out, have a talk with us, and release that energy too. So it's a really amazing, I don't know, what would I call it, different processes that I'm given by your guides to help heal and change situations from your past, usually. But I have clients that I work daily, too, especially like real estate agents that are constantly just stressed out of their mind. They're not sure what energy, what energy am I giving off to this client? Or, what are people that have like different people that they're working with, say they have a huge corporation and they're like, well, should I partner with this person? So I have the ability to look into anyone. I don't need to see their picture. I can just tune into their birth name, and I can start telling you personality. I can start telling you intentions. I can start telling you exactly what these people want from you. So I help a lot of business owners with that kind of stuff.
Wow, that's very cool. We're talking to Kathy Marrott. She's out of Southern California and is a energy healer. Kathy, you've one of the things that I found was very, very interesting about you. You kind of call yourself a transformational psychic as well. And here, what is a transformational? Is that basically what you do? Is you help somebody find themselves?
I help them connect to self. Okay, a lot of people are not connected to themselves, which is an interesting. Basically, that means they're very unconscious and unaware of what they're doing every day. They kind of just go through the motions of life, and they don't really think about it. They just, or I like to even call it kind of in a dream state, where once you start becoming conscious and aware of things, it makes it changes your reality because you start perceiving and your illusion's different. Do I need to explain what that is? Because that's a lot that I just said.
No, you have to explain it, or I'm
okay,
coming down there.
Yeah, I know. So you understand your illusion. Everybody has an illusion of what their life is. Everyone has an illusion of what story they're going to make the next day, or what story they're in. And sometimes when you can step back finally, and this is what I help people do, when you can step back and see why, or see how, or understand what this person's intention is, or what the feelings are inside that person, then you can step back and have a different perception of that story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it changes the outcome.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's... So
I would call that transformational. So that's transformational, and also the healing part, that we talked about already, pulling out pain. Yeah. It also transforms your illusion. So instead of having these illusions of everyone hurts me, my life is difficult, I never have any money, that's all an illusion you're living in because of your pain. So if we can transform all of that and change those stories, then you can start living in a new illusion of prosperity, abundance, love, kindness, happiness.
Yeah, and it's basically the way you. I always think of the spirit guides as or our angels or our guides as those little railings on the bowling alley for kids. So it's almost like you are bringing that up too. You kind of help people understand the boundaries and to keep them on track. And you're presenting them that.
So a little bit of coaching, is that what you mean? Yeah. I would say so.
But
I definitely do that.
On the spiritual side, where see, I believe a lot of people don't understand where certain things, why they act out or why they do things in their life, and how far back those things are based, and as they come forward, you can see it physically in people where you will. You have the same hand gestures as your dad or your mother, or you become your parents kind of thing. But there is a spiritual side of things and an energy side too, where you've over time have adapted some kind of constant. What would it be? Like you have an imprint in you from energy, and you just fall into that all the time, and it may be a negative one. And it really needs somebody like you to kind of point that out and say, you know what, this is something that just happened over time, and it's time for it to go. And
well, the thing is I'm usually guided to help the person see for themselves where the pattern began. So the person can wake up to it and go, oh my God, wow, I never realized why I kept doing that over and over. And so, and like I never know what it is, because I don't, some people will call me and say, well, do you need to know all this before our reading? And I'm like, no, I don't need to know anything. You call me and everything that's supposed to come through is going to come through.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't need to know anything. I literally don't need to know anything. I barely need to know your birth name. If I have you on the phone, I can just tune into your heart right here. But it's nice, and then I also have spirits. Like I can read. The hard part for me sometimes, which is kind of the funny part, is I sometimes truly cannot tell the difference between someone who's passed and someone who's still here in spirit. So I'll be on the phone with someone, and we'll be doing some healing work on their mom, and if the mom is alive, I can read her spirit. Her spirit is here. I can talk to her. If the mom is passed, it's the same. And sometimes it's hard to tell when they passed. So that part's weird for me sometimes.
That is really interesting, because I haven't heard that. So the mother who is alive,
So anyone alive, I can read you can too. Anybody, if you learn how to do it, you can read anybody's spirit. You can call upon anyone's spirit, whether they're alive or dead.
That is very cool. I did not know that.
And so I have one of the things that I do for a lot of parents that are very worried about their adult children, and their adult children would never do anything like believe in this, is I will do what's called a spirit healing, where I go to the person's spirit, I ask for permission to do healing work on the person. I have never had anyone say no. They always say, yes, please help this person. So I'll start pulling pain out of them. And what I'll do is I'll write an entire email. I'll go about an hour, and I'll write an email of all the past pain and the reasons why this person is doing what they're doing. So the mom or the dad, whoever's ordered the spirit healing, can read everything that came through. And oh my God, I'll get phone calls and they'll say, wow, how did you know my son got in a car accident when he was 19 and his leg has never been the same, all this stuff, so I don't know. I just tune into them and I talk to their spirit, and we start pulling out issues and pain. And then the parents will say, wow, my son is actually acting happier and different, So it's like it's a different realm, I think, whatever I'm tapping into. But it seems to be helpful, positive, and a good experience for everyone.
Oh, that's amazing. I've never, that's one of those things I want. My sister has issues. I was like thinking, while you were talking, I was thinking, maybe I can send you after my sister, who's got some...
I do it. You don't even know how many family members are like, it's usually someone who's come to me and I've worked on them, and then, they'll be like, I wish you could work on my sister, but she would never, or my daughter or my son, they would never come to you. And I was like, well, I do spirit healing. And then there you go. I've got spirit healings all day, So.
And Kathy, could you, so I got in a car accident back in 99 or something, and a sore lower back, which is affecting my sciatic nerve or something like that. Is that that you can't heal, right?
I'd be willing to try. I mean, I can say that I've there's an emotion and there's a reason in that emotion that you got into the car accident. There's an energy you were putting out. And I know that we want to believe it was an accident, which it still is an accident. But there's always a reason for everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's quite possible that day you were, just fine, everything was normal, but maybe something was really irritating you or bugging you, and who knows, maybe the other person who crashed into you also was, and that's why you guys collided in vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a way to release that energy and see if that releases the pain, which it has for many. But, with that kind of pain, you have to that's when I give people homework, and I tell them, let's do the session, you and I together, and then when we get off the phone, your homework is, and I would teach them how to do their own light therapy on themselves, which is teaching them meditation, how to connect to the divine, how to get divine energy down through their crown chakra and down into where your back hurts. And holding that love energy in your back can definitely heal.
Okay.
But, it's
cool.
something you would have to reapply, and you probably want to do that on your own because, unless you want to pay me every day, which I'd be fine with. But, But I do like to help people by homework and showing them exactly what to do, and that does seem to be pretty beneficial to them.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
So, it is a possibility. I've helped. There was one woman that I've helped through, and she's been coming to me for a couple of years, that she had fibroids in her uterus, and now she's gone to the doctor, and her fibroids are dissolved.
Wow.
Doing the light therapy. Then the other one was a woman that had problems with her lungs her whole life, asthma issues, going in and out of the hospital, such bad asthma. And I've been working with her for quite a while, like 5 years, but she hasn't gone into the hospital or had an asthma attack like she has in the last 3 years. Like, she's amazed. So I think as long as you do your homework and I can help you get there, I think that it can be healed. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll have to start thinking a little more positively about my bad back. I'm going to call it my good back.
Well, yeah. I mean, and part of that is, there's a lot to it, because part of it is loving. What we want to do when something hurts us is we want to hate it. We want to be like, no, get out of me. You're hurting me. Ow. We want to put hate on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually kind of hard to put love on pain. But, that is part of it, if you give love therapy to the pain instead of hate therapy. But it is kind of like everything in your life, depending on what pain you're creating from, as far as, everything. Pain in your body, love, relationships, work, money, every relationship. People even have problems with just acquaintance, like going to the store, they'll have people giving them problems, and that's an energy they're putting off.
Yeah.
Of self-hatred, usually.
Yeah.
Or anger towards self. And that's all the stuff that I help people release and get back to love and acceptance of self, which is key to a happy life.
Yes. It definitely is.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to your readings, you can do them actually through email, can't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do them through email all the time.
So someone would send you an email and saying, "Hey, can I get a reading?" And you plug in, or do they send you a list of questions? How does that work?
Well, I'll just tell them. If they want a full hour reading, then I'll just say, what would you like? We can do general, or we can. A lot of people will be like, no, I just want whatever comes through. And whatever comes through. And other people will be like, I want whatever comes through, and then I have these specific questions. And I'll be like, okay, done. They can do it either way.
When as you do this, the information that you're getting, and you say it comes from their angels / spirit guides.
Mm-hmm. And the person's heart.
And the person's heart, okay. I had a very, very unique thing happen about 2.5 years ago. And which is about almost the time that you and I first started to communicate. But something I've never asked you, a lot of, I used to have a little show called Two Mediums and a Large, and I'd have psychics on there. And also I would interview psychics from those TV series like Psychic Investigators, Psychic Detectives.
Right.
And a lot of my friends are psychic. Well, about 2.5 years ago, and this goes right around the world. It wasn't just a few of my friends and some of the people I would speak to. Their own personal angel / spirit guides took a step back, and an extraterrestrial came in.
Whoa.
Okay, I was going to ask you, did you go through that too? But I guess not.
No.
So that lasted about some of them in between 4 and 6 months. This happened.
I have not had that happen.
Okay, because one of the ladies, she actually, when it came through, because she said, "No, you're not welcome. I don't want you." And then her regular one hung out. But it was one of those things where they were still being able to read and getting all the information, doing everything they'd always done. It was just something completely, literally out of this world. And a lot of them didn't, come out and say it. My friend Joanna did, and we used to call her guy Rob, which he thought was funny because he didn't really have a name. But then I started privately asking people, like from Canada to the U.S. to Wales and France, and they're saying, "Oh, why? How did you know that?" I said, "Yeah, it's happening a lot," and it's all gone now. That was 2.5 years ago. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up just in case something. No, I don't think so. No.
Mm-mm.
No, yeah, you would know because they almost come in and ask for permission.
Oh, kind of like what I do with my spirit healing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very fascinating. Have you ever had a incident that you would call somehow connected to ETs or cryptids or anything like that? Ever seen a Bigfoot? Ever seen a UFO?
No, I totally believe they're out there. I've never witnessed it, though. I mean, I remember years ago, just as a little girl, my mom told me she saw an alien ship driving down this canyon in Utah. And then I don't know if that puts something in my head as a little girl, but I used to wonder if my mom was an alien. I remember thinking that. I was just like 6, 7, 8 years old, and I would be like, I think my mom's an alien.
See, you're intuitive.
It was really weird. She honestly could be.
Yeah.
She honestly could be. And then my blood is ABRH negative too.
Yeah. So you're completely woo woo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely woo woo.
And I know the town you're from is only about 2 hours away from a place called the Skinwalker Ranch. So, which is alien central, wolves that stand close to 6 feet tall and cattle mutilations.
You mean where I grew up or where I am now?
No, where you grew up.
Oh, Mapleton, Utah? Okay.
Yeah. It's not too far from, it's 2 hours away from the area, which is a big kind of a little valley, a little valley area up in the northeast part of Utah called the Skinwalker Ranch. And yeah, there's something to Google.
Interesting.
But it's been, alien activity has been going on. The First Nations there have been recording it for hundreds of years. In fact, there's, I think, petroglyphs in the area that reflect it too. But it's a very active place spiritually and with some really, really weird stuff happening, possibly underground. So they've been doing investigations in that area for a number of years. And the people who own it right now, it's like a military compound. You can't get on it. It's all investigations into it. So it's a fascinating place.
It's coming through to tell you that my mom, when she saw that, it was in the 70s, and she was in Logan, Utah, which is north, way up north. She was coming down a canyon in Logan, so
okay.
She saw the spaceship.
Cool. I'm just going to see how close Logan, Utah is from the Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah, it is an interesting area, and whether it's the actual geography itself or why certain places seem to be connected to more call it paranormal activity, but I call it paranormal activity than others. You know where Ballard, Utah is?
I think so. I think that's south.
It's south? Okay. Because that's Ballard, Utah is where...
I'm pretty sure.
That's kind of one of the closest towns to the Skinwalker Ranch. So...
Interesting. Have you been to the Skinwalker Ranch?
No. I just really... last weekend when I was down at... wherever I was in... come on, help me here. McMinnville for the UFO Fest. Was talking to a guy named Jeremy Corbell who did a documentary on the Skinwalker Ranch with a George Knapp, who is a investigative journalist, and they had a lot of information about it, and they put a little... I watched the documentary, and I was fascinated with this thing. And, it was the first time that I'd really, really heard... I've always heard about the Skinwalker Ranch, per se, but it's like, whatever, I don't know exactly what it is or what the big brouhaha is, but when I watched the documentary, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Ballard is south of Logan, about 3 hours. But it's an amazing place, an absolutely amazing little place. And just south of this Ballard community, if you ever to look on a map, is just a big vacant. There's nothing. There's nothing for hundreds and hundreds of miles. It's just wilderness. But the occasional seismic things where like oil crews would come out and poked around, but it's the middle of nowhere, and not too far from a reservation, a couple of reservations down there. So it's an interesting place. I'd recommend you not go there.
Okay.
Stick where you are in Southern California. It's a lot nicer.
Yeah, It's really nice out here.
It's the ocean too. You and I are those people that like big trees and moving water, and that's how we get ourselves fixed. And if anyone wants to look up a little bit more on Kathy, go to she's got a Facebook page or two. Kathy Marrott, Marrott. Am I saying it right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Kathy with a K.
Kathy with a K. Yeah, I was hoping it wasn't Marrott. So
no, you're saying it right, Marrott.
Yes,
it is Marrott.
The kind of French-Canadian thing there, I meant trop de Marrott in there.
I do actually get people calling me that a lot. So
yeah, it's...
but it is Marrott. It's Marrott as in Marriott without VI.
Oh, Marrott. Mm-hmm. Or again, KathyMarrott.com and Kathy with a K. And again, follow us along on there. It's I'm fascinated with the readings and the type of readings you do, because I've never bumped into. Well, probably a lot of people do the email readings, but I just assumed it wasn't a thing, but it is a thing for you, which is very cool. Mm-hmm. What is like one of the readings you do? It's an angel reading, and you actually channel your angel guides. What could you kind of go into that? What does that entail?
Well, so for that, it's definitely for someone who's more, on a religious tone, right? Or wanting to, obviously they're going a little crazy calling a psychic, but, hey, they believe that the angels are there and we can hear them. And so I'll just, I always connect to the person and spirit guides and angels every time I do a reading. And I'll just tell them what's coming through. And so a lot of times what is coming through is maybe stuff that they're having a hard time with, like with work, issues at work, problems that I can see, or their angels are going to say, look, it's going to work out here, or it's going to work out there. Maybe take this path, change and do this way. I'll be given all sorts of advice from angels.
Okay.
And, a lot of times it seems like it's either, and I feel bad when it's both. Sometimes it is both, like someone's in a terrible relationship they need to leave and they're just too scared to leave, something like that. So angel guides are there, I'll do angel channeling. And honestly, the person doesn't even need to talk. Like, I'll just say, how about you let me tell you what's coming through, and then if you have questions after that, then you can ask the question, And so I like to just start my readings off without you even saying a word, and I'll just tune into everything and just start telling you what's coming through. And that's just the most healing, clarifying thing reading. People love it.
Yeah.
It's like all the information they needed to know came through, and they didn't have to say a word. And
that's, to me, that's one of the purest forms of readings. And for the skeptics out there who think, oh, you just kind of, you look at me and you go by my body language. And my God, I posted something about one of my interviews with Skeeter Wellhouse, who's a psychic, or Joanna, Joanna, the psychics I know here, and it was on I think it was on a Facebook page or something, and the comments were, well, I don't understand this. Like, everyone knows that, once they have your name, they can look you up anywhere on the internet and know all this information about you and watch your body language. And I read this thing thinking, yeah, Joanna doesn't even want to look at the person she's doing the readings for.
Me either.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you look at them, it throws you off because they may wince or they blink or something, and you think, "Oh my God, am I on the?"
No, you know what it is. No, this is what it is for me. Like, people get really weird. They're like, "You need to see me," and I'm like, "No, honestly, I don't want to see you," because what happens is, instead of it being this pure channel of your heart and your angels, I am still a person here, I'm a human being. And so I would look at you and probably put some judgment in because of your hair and your clothes and, all this stupid stuff starts coming through that doesn't matter, but I'm human. And so I may make that mistake if I see your picture, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's really a much purer read if I don't see you at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing with all these bizarre comments. They're the ones who think that all orbs are dust.
We don't have time to look up people on the internet. Like, why would we? No. And I would not have a business, making what I make and doing what I do if I sat there and looked at people on the internet and tried to pretend to be a psychic,
Yeah, and it's crazy. And you can't you can't look up somebody by their first name for any other reason.
Well,
it's like, and I use Tyson as my last name on the show because it's my father's middle name. My real last name is Brown. Imagine looking up James Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You'd
go
be in
for
big
it.
trouble.
Yeah, just have a nice day. I'll see you in about 6 months when you find me.
Exactly.
It's kind of silly, and I found that was an awkward way. But some people are like that. There are skeptics, and then there are cynics that think they're skeptics that will just not believe in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. And the trouble is, you can't. As a policeman, there are certain people you don't argue with. 2-year-olds and drunks. Because you can't win. You cannot win. You're just going to look at them and go, oh, my God. You just nod and smile and walk away. And that's where I'm throwing these cynics skeptics in. Hey, I got a question I'm going to run by you psychic you.
Okay.
So I've got this thing. You know what Patreon is?
No.
Okay. Patreon. It's basically it's a thing. If you like people's podcasts, you can go on it and you can voluntarily throw a couple of dollars on a month if you like a certain podcast. And what I've done, I've added for $3 a month. If you like the podcast, you go to my website, theoracleswithjamestyson.com, and click on the little Patreon link. And if you sign it up, what I'm doing is from that I will draw when I get to about 20 to 30 people, I will draw names every month. One name I'll draw gets a psychic reading, another one gets a past life regression, and another one gets an gets her chart done. Astrologically.
Astrology reading. Okay.
Yeah. And when I hit 2,222 people, if you think about it, that's a lot of money coming in a month. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing a name or two, and it'll be for a trip for two, airfare, accommodation, and car rental. If, let's say, people like paranormal things like ghosts, well, I'll send them to the Preston Castle in Northern California and do a few ghost tours there, maybe down to the Winchester House, do a couple of tours, or the Gettysburg battlefields. And it's not one ghost tour. You get to go with all the different tour groups that do it. And if you like UFOs, I'll send you down to Alien Con in LA, or out to Sedona with Belinda Leslie to actually see UFOs coming and going from a portal in Sedona. Things like that. And because it's more or less giving back. And plus, I want to go with them and actually see all this stuff and do stuff with them and actually do interviews of those people. So that's my plan on that. So it's not like I'm trying to make money from this. Everything's going to go back to the listener who signs up. And I think I had it capped off at 4,500 max. But I think I may drop that down about 3,500. And if we get up to that, we max out. Grab your passport because you're going to go to Europe. If you like ghosts, I'll send you to a castle in the UK, or if you like UFOs, I'll send you down to a conference in Australia, bounce you down. If you're in Australia, I'll send you up to Area 51, or not Area 51, better not do that. I'll send you to Sedona or some other places where it's active in UFOs. There's a really good UFO conference in Portugal every year, so I'm going to do that. Cool. And if you're from the UK, I'll send you over to North America. So that's the plan. You think people would be interested in that?
I think so. Sounds amazing.
Okay. I'm just checking with the psychic to make sure it's okay.
I think it sounds like a great plan.
Okay. Now we're talking to Kathy Marrott, Kathy with a K. She's out of Southern California. Please go to her website, kathymarrott.com, and follow along, because we're kind of going through some of the stuff she does, her readings. The fascinating one for me was the channels, your angel guides for you. So that was very, very cool. And plus the clairvoyant email reading. That, to me, that's always fascinating to actually do something on an email. Because when you... It's almost like if you were proofreading somebody's essay for your kids hand you an essay, Mom, say, can you check this out for me, and you're kind of reading it going, oh, okay, the teacher is going to A, B, and C on this thing. You'd be the greatest proofreader if you look, if you can do things like that.
I mean, don't expect perfect grammar or punctuation. I kind of just, honestly, just whatever channels through me, I write down, and I do kind of try to look through it after I'm done and go, okay, fix this or that, but I don't even always use capitals. It's just kind of, you should just know it's from an angel, and she didn't have to capitalize or use punctuation all the time, okay? So people don't seem to mind.
Oh, that is fascinating. So you're actually, when you're typing the information back to the person, it's channeled.
Yes.
That is fascinating. That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever channel handwriting?
Do you mean? Well, I mean that's what I'm doing. Handwriting instead of on the email. You mean?
Let's say you've got your journal or your notebook, and you can look out the window.
Absolutely. That's probably how it all started. Is because I did that. I've been doing inspired journaling forever. So yeah.
Do you ever get? Sorry. Yeah. Do you ever get messages?
I keep being told to write a book. So
you should. Like, you know what? You could write a book. Probably just get yourself a big blank. A bunch of paper, sit on the porch with a pencil, and then look down every so often to see how many pages you've written.
I know, right? Mm-hmm.
Writing books are easy because you don't have to worry about it. Mm-hmm. But have you ever done that? Have you ever got messages, personal messages, come
for
through?
myself? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would love that. A friend of mine banged her head in a really bad accident, broke both arms. Talked the doctors into not putting a cast on her right hand because she had a young one and needed to cook dinner and things and deal with him. And she was sitting with a pencil and paper and looked down, and she was writing, and it was in her mother's handwriting.
Ooh,
and it was
cool.
It was a message from her mother, and she handed it to her brother and said, "Look what I." Tell me about this. And she says, where did you get this? When did Mom write that? She said, no, I did that yesterday. And it was all a message from her mother. And she's now, I think what she did have, and she just doesn't realize it, she had a death experience, or what people would call a near-death experience. And her ability got cranked up to the point where she sees it now.
That does happen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's writing books and off doing this kind of stuff. And have you ever died?
No.
Okay, good.
I've had complete destruction. I think I told you in my life, that I had to start over from ground zero with 2 little children. But I was alive.
Yeah, you've. We won't get into that, but you've had some personal challenges that are that really knocked you down, but you've really blossomed from them. So
absolutely,
which is good. If you think about it, really, things really grow well in manure. So once
they do. Yeah. Well, and, that's another thing, besides the angel readings, I have a lot of, I think probably my most asked for or, wanted reading is the love relationship reading, because I can tune into that other person. I can, as I've said before, I can see and feel their thoughts, feelings, and intentions for the other person. I can see their past lives. I can see their connection, as far as energy. I can see energy lines as far as, like, what their relationship's been through, how many times they've broken up or gotten back together, if they'll stay together, or who will leave who. If I can see these energy lines, it's hard to explain. I like to say they're kind of like a phone line, old school phone line, but I see these lines and they're light. They're filled with light. And it's interesting because certain different love relationships all see, in 3 years, you're going to change your mind. You're not going to want to be with this person anymore. And I'll be able to see why. And people are just astounded, but I think love relationships are probably my favorite readings for people.
Wow. Those are cool. That would be very, very interesting.
A lot of people are, and all those people that are like, will he come back or will she come back? I'm probably are one of the rare honest psychics that will actually be honest and tell you the truth. So I think a lot of the psychics out there will just kind of keep you coming back to get more same answer or whatever. So I don't know. I think the healings are huge. Probably half my business. The other almost half is love relationships. So that's probably, the main part of my business. And then, I do chakra therapy here and there. And then the angel reading is also just kind of here and there.
Do you ever get asked to check somebody's house to see if there's a ghost in it?
Yes. And I can clear the house, too. Okay.
Here's a very interesting conundrum I'm having, and I'm not going to ask you to clear it, but we had somebody in. I have a basement suite, and I had somebody here who is a lightning rod for the other side, and she's gone, and there was a kind of a portal opened up in one of the rooms, and had that sealed, and we have almost a dozen people from the other side of the country, like literally from about the 1600s, indentured servants and slaves, which we never had on this side of the continent in Canada. And they're in my basement right now, along with two elemental beings, fire and water. And we're like, okay, how do we get you guys home now? And we moved on a elemental being that was a forest related one, and we've now kind of have to deal with these other ones. So it is really interesting. I've got a couple of psychics working on it. They came in there and said, okay, it's obviously these things are from the slave trade. And I said, yeah, we had no slaves here. We don't have. That's what slaves we had. I think we had 5,000 max black slaves in Canada at one point, and they're all on the east side of Canada. But a lot of indentured people, because they come from the United Kingdom or Ireland, and they said you've got to go work 5 years for this farmer or something like that. But they're literally standing down there with what I understand is they got this look on their faces like, where are we and who are you? And I'm like, we're not going in there. And the psychics can't go into the room remotely. They come in remotely and they start walking in, and they start coughing. I'll be on the phone with them, and they'll say, okay, I'm coming in the room. Oh my God, it's full of smoke. And they cough so bad, they say, I can't get near your room. So I'm thinking, okay, this is not good. So that's what we're working on this month. That
sounds like a handful.
Yeah, luckily I don't have to deal with it, and it's like I just don't go in the room right now. So, but it's a bit of a pain. I'd like to, and one of the biggest things, and for my listener who knows me, it's I don't like having people who have passed hanging around without trying to cross them over. I think, and that's why I left a number of my paranormal groups I was with, because we'd say, yeah, you've got, ghosts in your house. And actually, some of them didn't even tell the clients. They'd say, yeah, I think you might, but we'll have to come back next week with more people. And then we'll come back the week after that with even more people, so they can all talk to your ghosts. And we think this is fun. Instead of saying, yeah, you've got a ghost named Debbie, she's upstairs, she's very confused, let's try to help her. Yeah, because I still have a problem with ghost tourism, where we've got a haunted asylum here, and let's charge people to come in and poke at them. Why don't we just help them? So,
but with my work, I haven't worked with a lot of ghosts. Really, I mean, I think when I'm doing readings and stuff, I just work with spirits that are coming in to give information to the person. But I haven't I wouldn't say I've worked with ghosts beyond, I can feel them, and if I don't want them here, I tell them to leave. They do.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah, I've found that telling them to leave is great, or putting yourself into an energetic bubble and saying, yeah, this is the only beings allowed in here are my angels, my guides, my past relatives who come with my highest good. All others have to stay out. except children. They don't pay attention to that. And I was down
Well, I have my one little boy who's 8 years old. He's super sensitive to the spirits, and he gets really scared, so they have to be cleaned out of here just for him.
Yeah, because he's a light. He's a... Yeah, he's
absolutely.
So every dead person in the neighborhood sees, well, you living there too, you've got like searchlights going straight up the top of your roof, so they all kind of go hang out, say, hey, can you help me? But
right.
And when you're a little boy, we've been to them where as in a paranormal group I was in, they said, yeah, we've got a lot of ghosts in here, and it's keeping my son up at night. He's scared. He runs in and sleeps with us. So and it was like, well, your son glows in the dark, basically. So every ghost in the neighborhood comes in and says, hey, can you help me? And there's the man who's, in the rocking chair at the foot of the bed, talks to him all night. And then there's this lady kind of floating over top of him, which at 3, my God, at 50 would scare the heck out of me. Not at 3, but he runs in. So I talked to the parents and I said, well, are you sensitive all? And the dad says, well, no, not really. But my mother, she is a psychic and works a lot with the police and things. And I looked at the mom and I said, were you sensitive? No, I'm not. But my sister does. It's like, oh, yeah. So basically they're both glow-in-the-dark people, but they haven't really tapped into it. And I'm looking at them going, yeah, your son is just he's got everything that you guys had. And you probably had the same things going on when you were 3. You just kind of blocked it out. But there's nothing we can do. And they've had the house, they've had shamans come in and clear all the spirits out, and that works for about a week, and then they all come back in. It's like, until your son understands how to block it himself, sorry, I can't really help you here. But, other than to just start crossing people over, but by that time you end up getting this long line out the door. Well, my son is old enough that he knows how I've taught him. Yeah, how to protect himself. Yeah. But when they were little, it was hard. It doesn't seem to happen as much for my son that's 10 now, but when he was a baby, they used his crib as a portal. I already know. I mean, it was crazy when they were babies. Now they're older. Now they know how to deal with it. They know how to tell them to leave. They know to not be scared. Yeah. Even though my 8-year-old still gets scared. But, Yeah, I've seen photographs that you take when you guys go to the beach and stuff, and I noticed that, they're little, well, especially, and I think it's just what I see when I look at a photograph, but when they're around tidal water and the moving water, they're little water boys. They're in their element, and they glow. Is best I can say. Yeah, they're just. I don't think you should ever live in the center of the U.S. where there's no ocean, because these guys would just go crazy. I think you're right, and their mommy would too. Yeah, I think so too. I think you're all water. That movement. I like water connecting with the mermaids in the ocean, and I like feeling the power of the whales. It's such a cool energy. Just go sit on the sand on the beach and just ask for the energy of the mermaids, all the energy of the whales, anything, any specific. I've never connected to like octopus or anything. I prefer whales and dolphins, but it's cool. It's a different energy. It's powerful. Yeah, it's the you think about the strongest mammal on the earth is going to be a whale. It's like the ability to move that body through that ocean, and the amount of energy that they put out. When you talk about mermaids, are you connected a little bit? What am I asking Kathy Marrott if she's connected a little bit to anything? To elemental beings. What is your belief system on elemental beings? Do you mean like fairies and things? And mermaids are right up in there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I think I only really connect to mermaids because I don't know. I went to the ocean and it started happening. I've heard and talked to other people that are close with fairies, but I haven't had that experience yet. I'm open to it. Yeah, be really nice to everybody who connects to fairies, because fairies are really, really, really strong and can be really, really mean. My youngest daughter's fairy realm, and I have issues with elementals. I actually I moved from a house in November, December, and my oldest daughter, who's very, very high vibration empath, who like me barely ever closes that thing, that lightning bolt coming out of the top of your head. There was construction in our neighborhood, and we had a creek that ran quite deep, but way under our home. And the construction moved a number of underwater aquifers, and they were underground aquifers, and we had 3 creeks merging under the house. And I was told, excuse me, Kathy, the elemental beings were really ticked off. And luckily, my youngest daughter had moved out to the new house, or her new house, and I was living there, and with my ex and my youngest daughter, and I was told, you've been shut down. You can't do readings anymore. And I said, why not? They said, well, you've got a number of elementals that want to attach themselves to you, and they're in your house, or they're below, coming up into the basement of your house, and they're just waiting to come up to the next level where you are and attach as soon as you open up. And I said, well, how did I get shut down? And they said, it was your guides that shut you down. In fact, all your guides have backed off, and they've put in an elemental being as a guide, like a good elemental being, quite a strong one, to fight this off. And I said, oh, that's interesting, because I for some reason I couldn't read anymore. I was just, I couldn't see, I couldn't connect, and it was kind of odd, because it's like it's almost like you losing a shoe walking down the street. You really notice it's not there. And then I said, well, what's going to happen? Like, my youngest daughter's there. Oh, don't worry about her, because they won't go near her, because she's fairy realm. And I said, what does that mean? And they said, yeah, elementals won't piss off a fairy.
Ooh.
Because she's very, very strong, and I guess her mom is too. But then I moved into my new house, and everything was fine. And because it was just a different, things had just changed in that area. And then as soon as I moved into the house, it was about a week later, I could start seeing again. I found my other shoe, let's put it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that elemental issue that I have, and every so often, like once my abilities got blocked, because I would do a reading for a person, then I'd phone my psychic friend and say, hey, did I do a good reading? So it was a confidence thing. So my guide said, yeah, no, we're just going to switch this guy off again.
Oh. Well, you can always just ask. You can always just ask how to clear and how to grow your confidence, and then you'll be right back in the game. Yeah,
it took me a while. It was ego based, and that's the hard one.
Right, it always is.
Yeah,
right?
It was a really, really hard one. A typically hard one.
I went through that. I remember. Yeah. I would get this little thing, I don't know if it was I don't know what it was, but I would get this little thing on the side of my head that would say, oh, you were wrong. See, you might be wrong. And then it would just F up your whole reading. You wouldn't be able to read right. I'd give the money back. Like, it would be terrible.
Oh.
But that hasn't happened in years. So.
Yeah, that was.
But I do think that was ego too. Like fear of being wrong, fear of
Yeah, what information am I thinking this, or am I making this up, or now?
Well, no, I would actually say, just do what I usually do, where I start channeling information, and the person I would be talking to, sometimes they're not in the right frame. This doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while they're like, well, no, and they get all defensive instead of going, oh my God, yes, Every once in a while, you'll get somebody that's defensive. And honestly, I really haven't gotten anyone like this in years. I would say like 3 or 4 years. But in the beginning, it was probably I would get these people because I was living in that and creating that, So I would get these people that would be like, oh, yeah, I guess, okay, now I can see what you're saying. But they would make me question myself, And then when I started questioning myself, then I started not being able to see. I would just get totally, like, it would just turn into a white wall. I couldn't see anything.
Wow. Yeah,
But you have to have full confidence and trust, or else it's impossible to read.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, once I understand it sometimes when I'm actually getting it, because at the end of the reading, I don't know what I've said. Does that make sense?
That's how all my readings are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's...
So I always tell all my clients, I'm like, please understand, I'm channeling this through a different realm, and I do not feel bad or do not take it personal when I do not remember anything I said to you.
Yeah, so
and they're like, okay.
Please record this, because I'm not going to be able to help you at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, once in a while they'll still come back and they'll be like, remember when you talked about this? And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I actually had to read oracle cards for a friend of mine who has a metaphysical shop. They couldn't get a reader in, and they called me and said, could you come and read? And I said, I've never really read cards for anyone other than my friends, and I don't charge money, and I don't know if I'm that good. And she said, well, no, so-and-so is like one of the top readers in our area, and she says, you're really good, so you're going to come and read. And I went, oh, okay, fine. And it was funny that this is the first time I realized that I'd flip a card and I was getting information from their pets. Do you ever get that? Animals coming through saying, hey, I'm the dog she had when she was a kid, or in my case, I'm the cat. Her second cat had died last year, and now she's on her third cat, and the second cat is telling me, or the dead cat's telling me, that the living cat is sick and has to go to the vet. Do you ever get animals coming through?
Not like that. I mean, I remember when I first started doing readings and I was doing it professionally, and I would go to some of my friends and say, hey, let me practice on you. I went to one of my friend's house, and, I was still pretty new at doing it full on, just them not talking or anything. And so I just kept going, hey, there's this cat around you. There's a gray cat and an orange cat. And she goes, Kathy, I hate cats. I hate cats. I would never have a cat. And I'm like, okay. So I just kept moving forward. And as I would move forward with her reading and all the things that were coming through, she really resonated with, and everything was great. And then this cat would come through, and I'm like, okay, there's a cat around you. I don't know what this cat wants, but there's definitely a cat around you. And then after we got through some emotions and we kind of released some pain, the cat came up again, and I said, okay, now the cat's sitting right on your lap. If you don't like cats, who does? Who is the cat person in your life? And she started crying and saying, oh, my God, it's my best friend that died a year ago. She had 12 cats. It's her. Oh, my God, she had a total breakdown. She goes, oh, my God, the cats are my best friend. They're around me all the time. And I said, the whole reading, they've been here. The cats have been here the entire time. And so it just really touched her, because it was obviously her friend that loved cats that had just passed away and wanted her to know that she was there.
And everything was fine.
And everything was fine.
Well, this has been really, really good. I really enjoyed you dropping by, and in the distance I hear some weird Alice Cooper music and a bunch of movement. So that means it's about time to go. And I really want to thank you, Kathy. Now, and again, please go, if you're on Facebook, go to Kathy Marrott and check her out there. And
on Facebook, it's called Divine Guidance Kathy.
Oh, right, because I skipped that. Divine Guidance Kathy.
Kathy.
With a K.
So I have Instagram is Divine Guidance Kathy. Facebook is Divine Guidance and Healing by Kathy. But if you go to my website, that's www.kathymarrott.com, then all the links are there. You just have to push on Facebook or push on Instagram, and you'll go straight to those venues.
Excellent.
And there's information, everywhere.
And that's kathymarrott.com. Look at you throwing the W's in.
WW.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Oh, see, that I need to learn.
Us young people, we just assume the W's are there.
Youngins?
Us youngins
Okay.
just assume the W's are there. KathyMarrott.com. Yeah, you and your kid, you and those little stinkers. And going to the beach today?
It's a little rainy and cold, so probably not today. Maybe tomorrow.
When you say cold, how cold is it?
Like 60, 64 maybe.
Okay, so you basically the same temperatures where I'm living up here in Vancouver, but it has been raining for a bit.
Yeah, it's been gray and rainy and kind of chilly.
Okay, you got to fix that before I come down there in June.
Well, I hope. I mean, June can be very gloomy here in Solana Beach.
Oh, okay, well,
the best time to come to Southern California is mid-July through mid-October. Then it's hot and warm and yummy.
Through mid-October?
Yep.
Okay, I may have to come down in October then. I have a friend who lives in San Diego, so I may hit her up for a room when I come down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still warm until sometimes by Halloween it gets a little chilly again, and then November's pretty cold, freezing. Yeah. Freezing to the San Diegans.
Freezing to the San Diegans, yes.
Yeah, actually, so July, August, September, and even into October, it's pretty warm. Down
here on the lower left coast of Canada, in October, it can be either quite nice or foggy. Possibly a little bit of drizzle, not too bad. It's the end of November into February. Those are the cooler ones that we've got. Thanks to the global weather changes, we've got snow now almost every year. Where I was a kid growing up here, we would have snow once every 7 years for Christmas. About every 6 or 7 years we get snow. Yeah,
and now you get it every year.
Yeah, it's been, and I think 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, or two years ago, were we 19? Yeah, maybe 17. We had snow that was like 2 feet deep, and it was still on the ground into March. I thought this isn't normal at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it was weird. And of course, we're typical left coasters here. We don't put snow tires on our car until there's 5 days into a blizzard. Don't get snow tires. The snow's not gonna be on the road that long. And all of a sudden, holy crap, how are you gonna move?
Yeah.
Oh well, it's weather. What could happen, right?
Well, I'm a Utah girl. I remember the snow.
Oh yes, yeah. You definitely. You had dry snow. You had that snow that didn't melt; it just disappeared.
Yeah, or it turns into black ice.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we get black ice usually.
And how cold it gets.
Yeah. That's crazy. When I was a Mountie up in Alberta, I was amazed. It's the first time I saw snow that it would just disappear without melting. There would be no puddles. And I thought, where does the snow go? What's going on?
Well, there are still puddles in Utah, but it does dissolve too. It's true. Mm-hmm.
Well, I may go to Utah. My buddy and I are taking our motorcycles down to Sturgis, South Dakota in August. And when we come back, we might go up, cut through Wyoming and Utah. So
you should do it. It's a beautiful state.
I heard it's a beautiful state. I'm gonna stay away from the Skinwalker Ranch thing. Kind of freaks me out, but yeah.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty cool guy. If something scary happens, I'll just put him up in front of me because he was kind of a funny kid. Not a kid anymore, but he played rugby in Wales. He's Canadian, went over there for 3 years. Then him and his buddies decided to join the French Foreign Legion. So he bounced around Africa and all these countries for 2 or 3 years and then fled the French Foreign Legion. And then, if I need somebody big, tough, and rough, I'll just put him over there. And
there you go.
Yeah, you can kill somebody with a straw from 200 yards.
And then when you go through the really small towns in Utah, like down by St. George, that's where all why did the word leave my mind? The polygamists. That's where you'll find those.
Oh, cool. So I can get a couple of girlfriends and
yeah, you can get some wives.
Get a couple of wives. As long as they all have really good jobs, I don't mind. With the economy where I live, a 3-income family is the best you can get. 3 to 4 income families. Imagine that.
Yep.
Get the house. Actually, in my neighborhood, there was 3 lawyers. They were in a relationship. Because you can, I think it's since the 70s or something, it's legal to be married to more than one person or something here. But
Yeah.
There's two guys and a lady, and they had it worked out. Man, oh man, they had money into a savings account for vacations, like international tour trips, and others paying off the house, and the other one doing this and that, and like, oh my God.
Hey, whatever works, whatever makes them happy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. All right, so I'll definitely go through the small towns and see if I can load a couple of wives on the motorcycle.
There you go.
Except, what's the creepy part is that there's like, hi, I'm 15. I'll be your... No, you won't. Go away.
Yeah, it does get a little creepy. And you probably have to be in their religious belief system also.
Oh, for a couple of weeks anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. We'll just stay with the
That's a whole nother phenomenon.
Yeah. And how do your spirit guides feel about that? So
I haven't asked.
Don't
I
ask.
haven't even asked.
Don't ask.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably I'm going to hit you up for a coffee date when I'm down there in June. See if you've got 10 minutes, and we can go to the beach and watch your kids glow. And
call upon the whale energy.
That would be cool. Have you ever seen a mermaid?
Cool. It's really cool. Have I seen the whales? Yeah.
How about a mermaid?
No.
But you know they're there, right? You can feel them?
I feel it.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's a base elemental energy.
It's a very magical, powerful, magical energy. It's great.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it to anyone.
Yeah. Especially if you live in Wyoming or something. Come on out.
Yeah.
And come to Kathy's beach. If you come to my beach, it's a little colder. So
yeah, my beach is
we can see the
usually.
mermaids easier here because they're wearing parkas. So
yeah. The shells over the parkas.
Yeah.
Right.
Kathy Marrott, thank you very much. And again, go to kathymarrott.com if you want a email reading. Check out our readings. Clairvoyant email reading, angel reading, where Kathy channels your angel guides for you, and the 30-minute healing and the 30-minute reading sessions too. And also she will balance and your chakras if you're feeling your chakras are a little unbalanced. If you've hit too many bumps in your life and they're shaking around. Which is interesting. I had a friend who had. She said she went for a healing and she had one of her chakras removed.
What?
I know, right? I'm saying, well, is that a thing? She goes,
no, I don't.
Removed and then they put it back in. I don't think anyway.
Well, it could be a process in a visualization, but it wouldn't actually be removed.
No, I think you might be able to.
Yeah.
Turn it off for a bit. I don't know. There's so many chakras. There's 7 base.
I don't think so.
It's all the other.
I don't think they are ever turned off.
No, I think you'd.
That'd be like breathing. No.
All right, Killer. You have a wonderful day, and I want to thank you very much for giving me the time to harass you and do most of the talking. But
thank you so much.
Okay, Kathy.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Night, and I live in the absence of light, and my shadow has life of its own, watching you while you sleep all alone.
All right, that's it. Let's roll. And hey. Let's be careful out there.
Far over the snow, what are those voices? They sing as they go. What are those voices? Look up for the mountain. Because somebody hide, somebody bear. I see dead people.